There is some dispute on this Aryan invasion theory, and even those who used to call it Aryan invasion theory have realized there's no archaeological basis for invasion. So they've smoothly made it to Aryan migration theory. Okay. Aryans just migrated, and apparently just through debates convinced Dravidians to, so-called Dravidians, to shift south. That doesn't sound very credible to me. It's also much of the genetic research that has been done, because they tell us that Aryans came from Central Asia, just like the Turks came from Central Asia. But that should show in the gene pool, no? So if I'm assuming if they could force such a developed civilization like the Indus-Saraswati civilization down south, it must have been a huge number of Aryans who came. But that the data that should spring up in the genetic makeup of the population doesn't exist. Doesn't show a massive Central Asian infusion of genes. Even in terms of horses and chariots, they tell us that horses aren't native and they came from Central Asia, but a chariot has been discovered in Sanauli, which is in UP, on the Gangaji basin, which is carbon dated to be at least 4,000 years old, which is well in the peak of what was the Indus-Saraswati civilization. And chariot and a horse-drawn chariot, what sense does that make? Many of the paintings in Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh, which are probably, I don't know, 25, 30,000 years old, have what looks like horses out there. There is, in David Frawley's book, he had spoken of Indian horses had a different number of ribs as compared to Arabian horses or Central Asian horses. And the description of the Vedic horses matches that. So then, using the principles of Occam's razor, that the simplest explanation is perhaps the most logical explanation. If the horses were there in India, then just that to justify that Aryans were from abroad doesn't stand up to scrutiny, because it shows that horses were there in India. They weren't as fast as the Arabian horses. Yes, that is true. They were probably more stocky, and so therefore heavier and stronger, but not as fast. So more suited for chariots perhaps than for individual horse riders. But if you put all of this together, then it kind of bears the fact that there was probably no Aryan invasion or Aryan migration, that they were largely from India. And these stories essentially happened here. Because even the Vedas, in the Rig Veda, it describes the rivers, the Sapta Sindhu, which actually matches to India. It has Saraswati in it. And we all know from Michel Danino's book that the Saraswati River probably dried out around 1900 BCE. It did exist at that time. It used to emerge with the merger of the Sutlej River and the Saraswati River. The river beds, which has been mapped through satellite mapping, justifies that. And India was a lot wetter at that time. The monsoons were a lot stronger. Tree line research has shown that India probably suffered a 150 years to 200-year reduction in average monsoon, which is a massive amount of time to have the monsoon failing regularly. This, coupled with some reason, perhaps earthquakes, for the Yamuna to shift away from Saraswati Ji and go join Ganga Ji, and the Sutlej to shift away from Saraswati Ji and go join the Indus River system. In effect, the Saraswati Ji's two main tributaries were moved out. So she was actually beheaded in a way. And the reduction in the rainfall pattern perhaps destroyed the river, perhaps dried up the river. And the river dried up sometime before 1900 BCE, which meant that the Rig Veda was composed, or it is written down well before 1900 BCE. But that places it in the time of the Indus-Saraswati civilization, because Indus-Saraswati civilization was around till 1500 BCE. So there are many questions on this theory, and I'd love to have scholars debate on this, like they used to have in ancient India, open Shastrarth, and maybe all of us ordinary people can listen to their debates and make up our mind.